You are listening to Not on the Payroll right here at KJAS 107.3 FM here in Jasper. If you have not checked us out online, check us out at notonthepayroll.com. We are also on Facebook, YouTube, and pretty much all kind of social medias out there. You can check us out there as well. Today we have the privilege of sitting down with Jasper, Texas City Councilman Councilman Land. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about some of the things going on with the city as it pertains to the SRMPA and electricity bills and things like that for the citizens who live in Jasper proper. Anderson, I really appreciate you sitting down with us today and talking to us.
Thank you, Jay.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of context, because a lot of people, unfortunately, council meetings only fill up whenever there's something that is going to be affecting somebody directly. That's really the only time folks show up, it seems like. Or maybe there's some conspiratorial things going on, and maybe some racial stuff in the past, and everybody wants to come and watch the train wreck.
Right.
So those are really the only times people show up to city council meetings.
That's true.
For the most part. Mm-hmm. But give us a little bit of detail as to what's going on with the SRMPA, what it is, and then really kind of what it was supposed to be.
From my understanding, like I said, I've been on council since 2019.
Okay.
I've talked to several different people. Former Mayor Gary Gadlin, City Manager Denise Kelly, former Mayor Mike Lau, to try to get some type of understanding or make it make sense to me as to what SRMPA does. From my understanding, there's a group of cities, Livingston, Liberty, and Jasper, that are in this group.
Okay.
From my understanding, what they do is they sell power. SRMPA is the group that sells the power. We get dividends, refunds, or return on that.
Okay.
A lot of times
by being part of the group.
By being part of the group.
Okay.
Okay. By being part of the group, the cities, all three cities, benefit from those refunds. All the cities benefit from the returns on that. Now, from my understanding, if SRMPA makes a profit off of it,
right,
it's brought to the board,
okay,
and the board decides, okay, look, we've made $600,000.
Okay.
This month or this period. We made whatever time frame it is, or we made $5 million, okay, or we made $3 million, or we made $2 million. So what we're going to do is we're going to decide to split that between the three cities.
Okay. And
it's an even split.
Okay.
From my understanding, like I said, I don't go to the meetings. I'm not a part of the SRMPA board.
Sure.
But I ask questions.
Okay. So having said that, so once that split occurs, so the SRMPA for kind of in layman's terms is really a power buying group of three cities.
Correct.
And it's governed by its own board. It's the sole purpose is not to make money, but obviously to give those three cities a better discount on their services, correct? On the
power services that we receive from SRMPA. We also purchase our services from SRMPA.
Okay.
So, and what I'm saying is the money, even though we're purchasing it, and the funds that we receive from SRMPA, why not give that back in some portion to the citizens that you service?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
so you're talking about the money that's actually split between the three towns.
Yes.
The portion that comes to Jasper, say just dealing with say we're just dealing with easy numbers. Say we'll go $3 million. So
okay,
that's $1 million for Livingston, $1 million for Liberty, $1 million for Jasper.
Correct.
And then Jasper City Council then takes that $1 million, and what happens to it at that point?
The city takes that and then they put it into an account. They don't take that money and say, okay, we're going to split this. The thing is, it comes to the city of Jasper. City of Jasper deposits that, and it's there for us to use. And from my understanding, that money, when the board decided in the beginning, we're going to split this money between the cities, and that money is given to you to use any way you see fit, however you want.
Okay.
It's not just for a specific thing, or you can't use it for certain things. No, because we use that money to, like, I'm pretty sure we use some of it for the Main Street project. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I know when I was on the board, a portion of that money we used for the Spring Hill Street project over over off near 190.
Yeah.
And where the I guess you got behind 190, that goes from Main Street to Marvin Hancock.
Mm-hmm.
That portion of the road that's being repaired now. Yes, we did approve some of those funds to be used for that. We also use them for capital items that need to be purchased. When, during our budgeting, the city manager come in and say, yes, we'd like to use some of these funds to purchase a transfer truck, or to purchase trucks for the city staff.
Right.
But we do use that money.
Okay.
That's not the only thing that money can be used for.
Sure.
But my thing is, I'm looking at it like this. If we get that money back, why not sit down and say, okay, yeah, city manager, city finance director, okay, look, we got this much back. Let's try to see how we can fit that into giving back to the people that we service,
right.
Our customers,
right.
our utility customers. Let's see what we can do about giving back then. But as far as I know, since I've been in there since 2019, this is my second term, I've never seen that happen. Okay. I understand from one of the previous mayors that said that, yeah, they did that at one time.
Right.
And I believe during our last month city council meeting, the former mayor, Gary Gatlin, had came in and said, oh yes, we did try that at one time, and we did give a refund to the customers that we serve utilities by, but he said it was a fiasco. So I'm like, how's giving back money to your your utility customers?
Sure.
How is that a fiasco?
Yeah.
My understanding is the people didn't know they were getting it back. It was not on their bill as a refund or rebate or whatever. A lot of people didn't know that they had gotten it back. So
sure.
They weren't informed. They didn't know about it. So they were like, oh, you didn't give us anything back. Yeah. Most people, you get your utility bill. I get mine. I itemize mine. I look at it. I read it. But most people don't. They just look at the utility bill and it's like, oh, this is what I'm paying.
Sure. Yeah, it almost makes sense that the city would, if I recall correctly, and I've been away for about a decade, but if I recall correctly, the ultimate idea for this was not just to get cheaper services, but to pass those on to the people.
Yes, that's the idea. That was the general idea.
And so the city council at this point, I mean, was there never anything? I don't know if it would fall under. It wouldn't fall under ordinance, but any kind of directive that's outlined for how that money would be spent. Because I'll be honest with you, I mean, because as well as I do, if $1 million comes into a small community like this, helping out the local business owners who are strapped with city electricity bills, and helping out the citizens, helping out the residents kind of falls down to the wayside whenever you've got projects that people are wanting to do.
Yeah, but I understand that. But also, my thing is, we're elected by the citizens of Jasper.
Sure.
We're not elected by the employees or management or whatever. We're elected by the citizens of Jasper to do what they want us to do, not what everybody else thinks that we should be doing. Sure. So the citizens of Jasper saying, look, you have this money, and the money's coming back to the city. Yeah. So their question is, what are you doing with that money? That was my thing on the onset. Okay, what are we doing with this money, and why can't we do this with it? Yeah. That's what prompted me to get in this. But like I said, initially it started with me last February when not the last February, but actually when COVID hit and people were kind of strapped to being at home, not losing laid off, but losing their jobs, losing hours, and can't keep up with they got about, what are you going to do? Pay your utility bill, or you going to buy food or buy medicine? Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't want to be sick, so I'm going to buy my medicine and I'm going to buy my food for my kids and for us to eat. Yeah. And this bill's going to go by the wayside for a minute. Now you got late fees that you got to pay on your rent, late fees you got to pay on all your other bills, your utility bills. Right. That shouldn't be something that you should have to worry about, because that should be something that the city should be looking at, which was what I thought about. Right. But the city should be worried about, okay, how can we sort of ease some of this burden for the citizens and the business people of Jasper. Because my thing was, and when it hit last year, we had the big winter storm and all this. So you know what? Let me see if I can try to do something and talk to the council members and present something to council saying, look, let's try to see if we can do this. And all I got was just pushback. No explanations. No, I'm not for that, or no, we can't do that.
So you're telling me, okay, so what I'm hearing, I'm just, I graduated from Buena, so I may be a little bit slower than some others, but
I graduated from Jasper High. So.
But the thing is, let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. You're basically saying during the COVID season, during that period of time,
Mm-hmm.
you went to other council members,
Mm-hmm.
and all you got was, you basically presented this idea of easing the burden on some level.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not all the burden, but some of the burden.
Some of it. Mm-hmm.
And you got pushback.
Well, I was told that, we can't do that, or people make decisions to, people got to have utilities, people got to have heat. But, it's like,
wow.
Well, it's just not going to be, basically I was just told, I'm not for that happening. So
wow.
What are you for happening? I mean, the people put you there.
Where does the mayor fit into this situation?
Well, the last time, the mayor is the administrator of the council, and he doesn't basically have a vote. He's basically the tiebreaker. He's a tiebreaker.
Right. But he's also a leader.
He's also a leader, but he's just like the last time I presented it to I went to the city secretary and had asked this to be put on the agenda. Councilman Holmes and I both signed. We asked for it to be put on the agenda. This was in September. I did it twice before, which was April and May.
Right.
And I had to put on the agenda, brought it to council, and there was no discussion on it at all. It was just a no. We were voted down 3-2, Councilman Holmes and I. We voted for it. The other 3 members of council voted against it. The last time I brought it, which was the September 14th, 2021 meeting, I had it brought in, signatures, Councilman Holmes and I, to have it put on the agenda.
Right.
I spoke to the mayor, and when the agenda binder came out, I looked at it, spoke to the mayor. I said, Mayor, there was a item that asked to be put on the agenda. It's not there. That's what happened to it. He goes, well, I just didn't see any reason for it to be put on there because, the other 3 members are not for it.
Wow.
And you've already brought it twice. So
wow.
I made a decision not to put it on the agenda.
Wow.
And I said, okay. I said, well, you leave me no choice but to bring it to the people. And that's when I decided to come up with the petition idea to
How is
bring
that
it to
going?
the people. Right now, it's already set to this council meeting. It will be brought to a vote for council to have it put on the next ballot for the upcoming May election.
So tell me
I got my I needed 160. I think I needed 165, but I got the votes, the numbers that I needed to have it put on the agenda. And
so basically, what's the petition specifically spearheading?
let me read that to you. Right now, it's going to be
And you're talking about the council meeting that's happening today.
today
On February 3rd.
February 3rd
Okay.
at 5:45 p.m.
Okay.
It's ordinance ordering a special call election to be held on the adoption of the amendment, which I did to the charter. It's an amendment to the charter. We're not changing it. We're amending it.
Sure.
So we're going to add this to the charter, providing for the election to the conduct in accordance with the procedures set forth in the order calling the 2022 general election. Whereas City Council will submit to voters the charter amendments set forth. A special election is ordered to be held by the city Saturday, May 7th, for the purpose of submitting qualified voters for the city a proposition on whether the charter of the city of Jasper should be amended. This special election shall be held and conducted by the city. The purpose of the amendment shall take effect upon adoption and entering of an order by City Council declaring the amendment adopted. That means we have to vote on it. The purpose amending affects only the article and the section below, listed below and submitted for the amendment read as follows. Regulations of rates of municipality-owned utilities. The city of Jasper shall not charge more than 10% above the cost of any utility it provides to its customers. That's under Article 10 of the charter. We're not changing the charter to say anything else. We're just amending it so we can add this
Putting
to
a cap
it.
on it.
Yes. We're adding this to the charter saying,
Yeah.
okay, you can't charge it. Right now, the city can basically charge anything they want. I mean, it just depends.
Okay.
They could say like, well, if we need more revenue. So
Yeah.
we just, I mean,
Or-
we're not saying that they would,
Or it's
but there
winter
is
time,
no.
or it's wintertime, or it's summertime, or it's springtime, or it's whatever time. It's the whimsical nature
We're
of
using,
whatever they want to do.
Yes, I mean, everybody's going to be using more power. Our cost is going to go up because
Sure.
of whatever.
Yeah.
So now we need to charge them more.
So that
But
right
this
there,
is basically just limiting them on what they can charge you.
Okay.
I don't mind. Yeah, the city, like you said, you had mentioned it earlier, and I've been told by others that the city's basically, we're not in the business to rob the people or to make
Sure.
money or have higher prices than anybody else
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But we want to be reasonable, but
Right.
be reasonable with your customers.
Sure.
I mean-
so do this for me because I'm still trying to get dialed in here a little bit as to what's what this looks like from a transparency standpoint to the people, because I'll be honest with you, whenever I've been living off for a number of years,
Mm-hmm.
and when we were moving back to to this region, the very first thing I said to my wife was, I don't want to move back to Jasper proper because the electricity is so high.
The rate's so high.
I mean, when you've got the option of moving a mile down the road one way or another,
Mm-hmm.
and you end up with JNEC as a cooperative, it's almost it seems like there's a lot less bureaucracy. It seems like there's a lot less red tape and stuff like that. And we never hear conversations like this. We never have conversations like this with anybody out of JNEC. Now, granted, sometimes your bill goes up.
Yeah.
At the same time, to me, it's almost like, where's the transparency from the city standpoint to the people as to how much or where that money's actually
Right,
been
right.
spent? So I mean, because if we're looking at this thing, if we look over the last decade, they've been receiving these dividends, returns, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
They've been receiving these for the last decade. And you've been in office since 2019.
Since
correct?
2019, correct?
Okay, so now we're at 2022, and you just recently got reelected, and they have not done anything for us helping the people save any money at this point. to
At
your
this
knowledge.
point, no,
Okay.
to my knowledge, at this point. Now, I can tell you right now, I received a report from at a request from the city secretary, Karen Pumphrey. I can get that, but according to the which is allowed by the Texas Open Records Act, to supply me with an updated list of the money of the city of Jasper received from the Sound Raven Municipal Power Agency. This was back in September of 2021. And as of September 2021, the number that I had received, that they had received from it since its onset, was $38,585,437.
Okay. Now, that was the split that Jasper received.
That's what split that Jasper received.
So
That's what I
Jasper
asked.
received almost $40 million
since the
inception.
Since the inception of this project, yes. Now,
I'll be
what if
honest
they've
with
been
you.
doing it before I came on? Because, like I said, I don't know
I'll be honest
if
with
I'm
you.
the only one that's been like bringing this out or to send to people. But I understand, like I said, my predecessor was he had the good idea. He was trying to do the right thing. I
Sure.
just don't think that he, put forth the effort to go to take it any further.
Sure.
You put it out there to the people. Okay, yeah, now you put it out there to them. So now educate the people.
Well,
Let
and-
them know what's going on. That's
and
what I'm here to try to do.
It's got to be discouraging from a council person's standpoint to bring something one time, two times, and third time we just kick it off the
Yeah,
list.
it's not going to even be put on the ballot. Yeah, that's correct.
That is, to me,
It's discouraging, but it gave me
fire.
fire to fight,
Yeah.
to keep fighting for the people. Okay, so it's like anybody else probably would have been just like, okay, I'm done with it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I tried to bring it to council twice. I got voted down 3-2. Third time, bring it to the mayor, so put it on the council. And I was, frankly, like I said, I went to the city secretary. I said, well, I got my agenda,
Right.
but nothing. where was the item that I'd asked to be put on there? Well, you should talk to the mayor about that. The mayor decided not to put it on there. And when I talked to him about it, I went into council. I asked the mayor about it. He said, well, it was my decision to make, and I decided not to put it on the agenda.
Okay. All right. Well, so as of right now, now you said it was yourself and another councilman. What was
Councilman DeMarcus Holmes.
Councilman Holmes. Okay. So right now it's basically you and Councilman Holmes against the rest of the other three, correct? It just seems
It's
like
certain
that
items,
as it pertains to this.
As it pertains to this. Because like I say, right now, the special call meeting today is to consider approval for the ordinance ordering the special election held on May 7th for the purpose of submitting to the qualified voters of the city a proposition regarding regulation of rates of the municipality-owned utilities.
Okay.
So now it's going to be brought to a vote at the city council meeting today. It's basically a special call meeting.
Right.
And it's going to be put on, and we have to vote on this.
Right.
This council has to vote on this. But the thing is, the council has to vote on it because it's been brought to the people, and the people have said, we want this put on the agenda.
Sure.
We want this put on the ballot.
And all this is actually doing. This is not dictating how the city spends the SRMPA money.
No, it's not.
This just caps how much they can actually charge.
How much they can actually charge
Okay.
for rates, for utility rates.
See, it almost makes sense why. It almost makes sense that there's some sort of amendment that could be put forth that dictates that a certain percentage of the monies from SRMPA be spent to ease the burden of business owners and citizens in the community as well.
That's correct.
You think that may be a next step potentially?
Well, we're going to take it one step at a time.
One step
right?
at a time.
We're going to take it one step at a time. Like I said, it was just, and like you were saying earlier, I mean, it was just so disappointing. Like I said, April, I had it on the agenda. The motion fell 3-2. Same thing. I had it again on our March and April.
Right.
Failed again 3-2.
Yeah.
September, I brought it back.
Right.
No action at all. No, we're not going to put it on the agenda. So,
Gotcha.
I even wrote letters to the editor, talking to let the people know, what's going on.
Yeah.
I like to keep the people informed.
Sure.
I'm not trying to keep people in the dark. I would much rather people come to council meetings to see what's going on, voice their opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do public comments.
Sure.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people choose not to.
Right.
That's fine. That's they can do that. That's their prerogative to do whatever they want to do. But I would much rather see, people come down and do that. But we don't get that kind of participation.
Okay. Well, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Not on the Payroll right here at KJS 107.3 FM right here in Jasper. We've had the privilege of sitting down and talking with Jasper, Texas City Councilman Anderson Land, talking about what's going on as far as the SRMPA fund. It's an actual fund?
Yes, it is.
Is that what it's called? Okay, so the SRMPA fund, and talking about potentially setting up a cap on the amount that the city can charge for electricity. Now, you said with this petition specifically, how many current signatures do you have on that petition? Do you know?
I believe we had like 295.
So that well exceeded what you needed.
It well exceeded what I needed, but we only, let's see, I had that information, but
Okay.
we had the amount that we needed, but I think it only came out to be, we needed 165. I think it came out to be like 190 some odd signatures that that were certified.
Sure.
And we did have an amount certified for us to be able to put that on the agenda.
Okay.
So the city council, once we have the amount of votes that we need, it was either, it was 150
Right.
or 10% of what the amount of the last election.
Sure.
And we did surpass that.
Okay.
And that was presented to the city election secretary, Robbie Peak.
Okay.
And she certified those numbers. And we had over the amount of numbers that we needed in order for it to be placed on the ballot and for us to have to bring that to city council.
Right.
And for council to vote on, saying that, okay, you have the voters, just people have spoken. Okay,
Right.
so now we can put this on the ballot.
Okay.
for the upcoming days.
So let me ask you this. Is there any place that anybody can go, just a citizen out here or just anybody, is there any place anybody could go and actually see kind of a transparent layout of where the $38 million has been spent.
They can go to City Hall. You know,
So they've got to actually physically go to City Hall.
Yes, they do. It's not anything that's printed anywhere that they
not
can
on the
look at on the website or anything. No, they can go down to City Hall, make a request. Like I said, Open Records Meeting Act, Open Records Act. They can go to that Open Records Act and request a copy of that from the city finance director.
Okay. It almost
It's not something that's just printed or it's not sitting up there.
It almost makes sense that they would at least move into 2022 and make it available.
Make it available for online for
because
everybody.
Here's the thing: if we want to talk about transparency, and Jasper, city of Jasper has over the years has been accused of not being transparent. It makes sense why.
That's true.
I mean, it makes sense that they would make it available online. I mean, I don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems like some of these points we kind of get to a point of baffled, and just kind of
it's
kind of like, okay, who's
not only baffled, but it's sort of mind-boggling. It's like, I'm not saying the city's trying to hide anything, but what are you keeping from the people? If you're not putting it out there, you know,
I can tell you what they're keeping from the people. It's $38 million.
That's true.
I mean, they ain't putting that into people's pocket.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. You know, and this is no direct slam on anybody, but to be quite frank with you, if I knew my council member was standing in the way of savings and I was a business owner out here, you can guarantee I would be spending my campaign monies differently when it come around to the next time.
I understand that. And that's why I say elections matter.
Absolutely.
People need to think about that. It's like, okay, do I want to vote for the person that's going to be for me?
Right.
I want to vote for the person that's going to be for whatever the city wants to do.
Right.
But the thing is, it sort of goes hand in hand, because what the city should want to do is to be for the citizens and the businesses of Jasper. Make it more business friendly.
Right.
Make it more people friendly. Make it more. I mean, we have a beautiful park.
Sure.
I'm not going to.
Sure.
Main Street, you know, it's beautiful. It took a while to get that done.
How many more miles of that do we need here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Put some of that back into the people. Everybody goes like, well, you know, we're doing stuff for the people. Okay, are you doing that for everybody?
Right.
Everybody doesn't enjoy the park, but it's there.
Right.
Everybody doesn't go up and down Main Street,
but everybody
it's there.
pays electric bills.
Everybody pays electric bills.
That's exactly right.
Everybody pays utilities here in the city of Jasper. Everybody doesn't utilize all the other things that you have that you say you provide for the city.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have this. We provide this for the city. We have this park. We have Main Street project. We have this.
Sure.
Everybody doesn't benefit from that, but
Right.
everybody benefits from a reduction in the utility
That's
rates.
exactly right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just listening, if you live in Jasper, Texas, man, you need to get spiced up about this, in my opinion. We've been sitting down with City Councilman Anderson Land. He's taking some time out of his day just to break down what's going on with the SRMPA fund and what's been happening. Currently, the city has received $38 million. $38 million. And you have seen very little of that as a return on your electricity. That's a problem. I don't know who your council person is, but if it's not Councilman Land or it's not Councilman Holmes, I would suggest you find another councilman, because they are not trying to pass on the savings to you. Now, maybe there's some ignorance involved in this. Not calling names or anything. Maybe there's some uneducated elements to this thing. I'm not sure. But I'll just say it like this: it's insane for them not to take and pass on a portion of those savings back to the people of Jasper proper. Today you have a meeting.
Yes.
It's a special called meeting.
Yes.
At 5:45.
5:45 p.m. today.
February the 3rd. Today, 5:45. If you are tuning in right now and you live in Jasper, you need to get down there to that meeting. At City Hall, and just go in there and listen to what's going on. The idea with this petition is to cap the amount of funds that the city can add to your electricity bill. That's the idea, and they're wanting to put that on the ballot. That's what this petition's about. And so if you live in the city of Jasper, you need to get down there at 5:45 today and go see what happens.
Yeah, it's going to give you, the citizens,
Sure.
the opportunity to be able to say, okay, this is what my utility rate is going to be.
Absolutely. And you
Okay.
also need to remember, that these council people have been elected by you. So accountability starts and ends with the citizens of Jasper, Texas. So once again, Councilman Land, I appreciate you for sitting down with us, man, and kind of opening our eyes on some of this.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you having
Appreciate your
me.
time. Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Okay.